Hello, good morning, and welcome to Morning Brew on Politics Social. I am Graham Hughes. Hope you're doing all right this morning. Who's in the chat? We've got Paul Ewan in there. We've got Gallifrey and Wren. We've got Scott. We've got Anya. We've got Sean as well. We've got UN Medc. We've also got Veg Pie in there as well. Hi, Veg Pie. How's it going? If you'd like to join our friends in the chat here, all you need to do is hit that big juicy subscribe button and wait for about a minute, and then you can opine on whatever is in your mind. Speak your brains, in other words. So it is Monday the 28th of April 2025. Had to think about that for a moment. It is the day of the Canadian election. Canada's a few hours behind us, so I don't think they're out of bed yet. But give it a while. And by hopefully this evening, we'll see who's out ahead. However, I want to talk about the sort of the Canadian election, but I also want to talk about something else as well today. That you may or may not have come across before, and it's called the International Dictatorship Union. No, sorry, the International Democracy Union. Yeah, it's something that I feel like we should all know about, you know. So let's just have a little chat about the sort of the IDU's global grip on democracy around the world. But first of all, like I say, today Canada goes to the polls. The leading parties are the Liberals, led by Mark Carney, formerly of the Bank of England, who's took over from Justin Trudeau, and Pierre Poilievre, who I'll just call Polly Pocket from now on, who is leading the Conservatives, the Progressive Conservatives, or something like that. I don't know. The Liberals are narrowly ahead in the polls, but it is tight. And don't forget, Remain was narrowly ahead in the polls in the 2016 fraudulendum, and the side that had the backing of Russia and the IDU and all these other disgusting, mysteriously funded think tanks and lobby groups like the Heritage Foundation. They were all on the side of the demons, and Brexit won. So don't read too much into polling. However, one thing is for sure, that Polly Pocket isn't going to get as many votes as he thought he was going to get as a result of Donald Trump. Trump's re-election in 2024 has cast a long shadow over Canadian politics. He's made threats to annex Canada and make it the 51st state. Lovely. He's slapped a 25% tariff on Canadian goods, declaring economic war on their northern neighbour. And he has interfered, direct interference in Canadian politics via propaganda and intimidation. Let's make two moans about it. This election is really about Canadian sovereignty versus making Canada a Trump vassal state. It is democracy versus creeping authoritarianism. It is decency versus division. It's not a normal election. This, my friends, today in Canada is a resistance movement. Resisting the rise of the demagogues, resisting the rise of the dictators, of the tyrants, of the crazed, evil, little-handed twats like Donald Trump. Sorry, just got demonetized there, but I don't care. The guy is an absolute gobshite. And they are deporting 4-year-old children with cancer from America. 4-year-old children with cancer being deported. If that's the future you want for your country, first of all, fuck off. Secondly, fuck off. And thirdly, have you ever thought about, fucking off? I'm pretty sure no one watching this actually feels that way about 4-year-old children with cancer, because you are all beautiful, wonderful people who, don't go in for that kind of thing, I assume, because you're watching me. Paul Ewan, thank you very much for the £1.99 super chat. That is very, very kind of you, my friend. Thank you so much. Come on, Canada. Carney, 4 p.m. Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice. Hey, listen, I've just realized that I'm not actually signed in on my little live stream here, so I can't write things in the pop-out chat like I normally do. Why is it Why is it coming up with subscribers? I'm going to have to just go into this again. Sorry. I'm doing some things. Don't mind me. I'm just doing some things because I wasn't signed in as politics because I was doing Tan's show last night. Did anyone watch Tan's show last night? I know a few of you did because I saw your names coming up in the comments. It was really good. All right, so it's not letting me have the normal access that I normally have to my comments. That's a bit crap, isn't it? Oh well, never mind. Thank you very much, Paul Ewan, for the £2 super chat. Come on, Canada. Carney for PM. Sorry I can't give you a little heart next to what you're saying there. Something's gone horribly wrong. I can tell. This is why you should never sign out of anything ever. I hope I'm going out. Am I actually going out? They do seem to really have something against kids with cancer. So I am actually going out. That's good. I'd hate to have done all that and then realise that I'm actually broadcasting on Tan's channel or something because I hadn't done the settings right. Anyway, where was I? I don't know. Hang on. Let me have some coffee. Wake me up. Oh, God, that's hot. Two monkeys in the bath. One of them goes, and the other says, well, put more cold in then. Anyway, so let's get back to the election over in Canada. So Mark Carney, former governor of the Bank of Canada and the Bank of England. His expertise during the 2008 global financial crisis helped steer the Canadian economy through that morass. And then morass, type of coffee. What's wrong with me this morning? The morass. Morass, please. As they said in the gay bar. And also Brexit. He was the Bank of England during the Brexit shit. And when that disgusting verdict came down from 17 million dickheads who voted to strip us of our fundamental human rights in this country, he managed to do an emergency. He managed to pull some emergency levers in the Bank of England to stop our economy going into a massive, massive tailspin. And something that we should be very grateful to Mark Carney for, because at the time, I think he was the only grown-up in the room. Our Prime Minister, the pig effer, David Cameron, he toodled off the next day. He said, I'm resigning as Prime Minister. Someone else could deal with this shit that I've created. They were careless people, Tom and Daisy. Yeah, careless people. Little literary reference for you there. How are we doing in the chat? So spending money on research for treatment on children's cancer is a waste of money, but spending billions on Musk's SpaceX programs isn't. I think someone has their priorities mixed up, says Chris C. Well, indeed. Yes, indeedy. My friend, yes, indeed you do. We've got Sure Fantastic there. Please, sending messages. What's this? Sending messages while using permissions is not yet supported. Please use your own channel. I'm trying to use my own channel. Why are you not letting me do this? Right. I'm going to basically, let's have a go. Switch accounts. No, I'm definitely signed in as Politics Social. Right. Just give me one moment while I try and sort this out, because it's not making me happy that I don't have full control over my comments, because it means that if we get a troll, can't get rid of them. Need to be able to get rid of my trolls, please. Thank you very much. Please, thank you. That'll be good. Can I get rid of my trolls now, please? Yes, I can. Don't troll. Now I have the power. Right, so I've got my full permissions back on the chat. So I couldn't add anything to the chat, and I couldn't give it like a little heart symbol. So if you scroll up to Paul Ewan's super chat now, you'll see there's a little heart symbol there. And I couldn't set a goal. So now I'm going to set a goal. Should we do all the colours? So any super chat, right? You got 45 minutes. Fill your boots, and I'll do an extra 15, okay? All right. And you can pay me more if you don't want me to do 15. I'll do an extra 15 mins. Okay, there you go. I suppose 15 mins should be two separate words. Oh, well, never mind. I was writing it quick. I wasn't really looking. Scott House Tricks asks Francis, I love it when people have little chats in the chat. It's really lovely. It's a little community that we've built here. Morning all. Have a fabulous day, says Witchy Goth. Just finishing my tea and off for a big run in the forest. Ooh, that sounds cool. Careful for those trees. Careful for the whispering trees. They might be plotting. They might be plotting against us, I tell you. They're plotting against us. Anyway, so Mark Carney. Anyway, so he's the first Prime Minister of Canada to never previously be elected to public office. He is calm. He is experienced. He's a serious... He offers serious leadership in the face of Trump's cavalcade of calamities and, his general chaos. His policies are to diversify trade away from the US, which seems sensible, to boost ties with the UK, thank you, the EU, good idea, and Asia. He wants to expand clean energy and electric vehicle subsidies, but hopefully not for Teslas. They can fuck off. He wants to put carbon border tariffs to align on America's on the border, so to align with the EU's Green Deal, and also he wants to continue oil production, but with strict emission caps. I'd rather he didn't do that, but you got to get some of those people on side who are just in love with oil. Just cover me in oil. It's so lovely and dirty. I love the filthy fuel that you can have. I love the filthy fuel. I love that people live in a world where they complain about a wind turbine on a far distant hill and go, oh, it ruins the hill. Let's just rely on dirty fuel like coal and oil. That stuff that kills things like the planet, and if they have an oil slick, it just kills all of the birds, and they get covered in oil, and the beaches get covered in oil, or maybe there's a massive fire that takes weeks to put out because the oil well's on fire, and maybe we could just have natural gas instead. Maybe you have natural gas coming into your home that's so deadly they have to add a smell to it so you can smell it, so you go, oh right, okay, we're getting killed by the natural gas coming into our home. Natural gas, yeah. Natural death, more like unnatural death, more like. So people with COVID who can't smell anything, well, they're in trouble, aren't they? But I don't want those wind turbines on that far hill because the view, the view. Oh my God, what have they done to the view? Never mind that the fossil fuels are killing you and your family. Never mind that, the view. Have you not thought of the view? Can we put up some pylons so we can get some electricity from these massive turbines that we've got in the sea across to where they need to be? No, we can't have that. Can't be seen pylons. No. I'd rather gas myself in my own home. I'd rather just, pollute the world and destroy it and leave nothing for the future of our children. Okay, cool. That's cool. Yeah. Plastics everywhere. Microplastics everywhere. What are plastics made of? Oil! They're made from fossil fuels. Oh, God. Oh, wow. You go down the rabbit hole. It gets even worse the more you look at it. It's a bit like Nigel Farage, really, isn't it? Alan Jackson, thank you for the £2 super chat. The computer says no. Well, the man from Del Monte says yes. I always wanted to do a comedy skit. I wouldn't have the budget to do this, but, what if the man from Del Monte says no? It's helicopters go over, but it's napalm. Anyway, moving on. Where was I? Peter Poilievre, or as I like to call him, Poilievre. No, as I like to call him, Polly Pocket. Peter Polly Pocket. Peter Pol Pot. Let's call him Peter Pol Pot. Should we do that? Because he's a bit of a Nazi. Yeah, he's a bit of a dictatorial scumbag, right-wing fascist knob, like a lot of them. He is a career politician. I don't really hold that against people. I don't understand why people are like, I don't like these career politicians. I'm going to vote for Jeremy Corbyn. And you're like, okay, you do know he's been a politician like all his life? That's like the dictionary definition of a career politician. Or, I don't like career politicians. I'm going to vote for Nigel Farage, who's been a career politician for most of his adult life. I just don't really understand this objection to career politicians when it suits people. It's a bit of an odd one, but there you go. You can't call Mark Carney a career politician because he wasn't. Anyway, so this guy is a career politician. But I'm not going to hold that against him. I hold the fact that he's a Nazi against him. I hold the fact that he's a fascist. I don't like to, back the fash in any way, shape, or form. He styles himself as an anti-elite. He's one of them, like Farage, anti-elite while being deeply, deeply establishment. Like so establishment. He's got 6 fingers on each toe. He is a combative populist, a bit like Trump, talking about take back control, bring it home, take back control. And his policies include scrapping the carbon taxes, emissions caps. Yay, let's just burn things. Let's just burn things forever. To deregulate the energy sector, to gut environmental protections, to slash worker protections, and privatisation spree of public services. Ha ha ha! I love these scumbags. They're so open in their scumbaggery. And yet people vote for them. People go, yes, I don't want any rights. I want my children to live in a filthy, polluted world where everyone has to live on the top of a fucking mountain to stay out the filthy, polluted water, the dead water that's below them, the stagnant water that's come because, nothing can really live in that shit anymore because of all the shit that we're throwing in it. And he is backed by the IDU. Effectively a Canadian outpost of this global far-right organization, the IDU. Okay, so let's talk about the IDU for a moment because maybe some of you haven't heard of it before. The IDU is called it's short for the International Democracy Union. As I said earlier, I'll call it the International Dictatorship Union, but there you go. It was founded on the 24th of June, 1983 in London, and its founders included Margaret Thatcher, Helmut Kohl, Ronald Reagan's political allies, George H.W. Bush, George Bush Sr., was involved behind the scenes, and the original goal was to unify conservative parties globally against communism. Yeah, need to come together, fight the commies. And how does Trump fight the commies? He aligns the biggest and most successful economy in the world with Moscow. Take that, commie scum. What a weird way for Russia to win the Cold War. Anyway, so today's reality is that this group unifies conservative parties to push right-wing populism, crush democratic norms, and enable authoritarian creep and authoritarian creeps. The current status is the chair is, I believe, Stephen Harper at the moment. He's the former Canadian PM. He's a far-right conservative, absolute gobshite. The HQ is now in Munich, Germany. Where the Munich Putsch took place. There are 84 different political parties in 65 countries that are members of it, including Pierre Poilievre's Conservatives in Canada, the UK Conservatives in the disunited kingdom, the US Republican Party, the Genital Obsessed Party, that's what GOP stands for, Viktor Orban's party, Fiddles, whatever it's called, the Fiddlers, the kiddie fiddlers, whatever they're called, something like that in Hungary, the Law and Justice Party, the PiS Party in Poland, and also Likud, which is Netanyahu's party in Israel. All the good guys. All the good guys part of this club. All the people you really love. They have 3 affiliate organizations. They have the International Young Democrat Union. It's like when the Nazis put the word socialist in their name. So people thought, oh, they're not really Nazis. They've got socialist in their name. But they weren't really socialist. These people who are Nazis today to go, oh, the Nazis were socialists, And you're like, so I've got to stop you there. And then you remove the oxygen from the room. Got to stop you there. So it also includes the International Women's Democracy Union, which is an incredibly transphobic organization, and SME Global, a small business lobbying group. The IDU's track record is often basically authoritarianism disguised as freedom. So you think about the Brexit lot telling you that we need to take our country back, take back control. And by doing that, we lost control over our own destinies, being able to live and work wherever we want across our own continents. We can't do that anymore unless we were born filthy rich or have an Irish passport. Or maybe both. Irish. So you're born filthy rich, like Farage, or you have an Irish passport, like that. Who's that gobshite? What's his name? Tommy Ten Names. Got an Irish fucking passport. That guy, Irish passport. Farage's kids have got German passports. All right for them. Boris Johnson's dad lives the life of Riley over in France. The dirty little wife beater, the guy who beats up women. The wife beater who keeps getting TV shows on the BBC that we pay. We pay for Stanley Johnson to go around the world and pontificate about stuff while, strenuously trying not to assault women on camera, I guess, because it would be terrible if he didn't get away with it. A guy who actually hospitalised Boris Johnson's mum That's how badly he beat her. And then when this was brought up, Fiona Bruce on Question Time, who's also privately educated, it's all part of some kind of, I don't know, some kind of mafia, says, oh, that was only the once. It was only the once. Yep, that's absolutely right. Hitler only did one Holocaust. He only did it the once. So, was he really a bad guy? I don't know. These murderers, if they've only murdered one person, does it really count? Is that really a crime? Do they give Nobel Prizes for attempted chemistry? I think not. A little Simpsons joke there for you, the people at the back. So anyway, let's have a look at the track record of the international democracy union. Hungary. Viktor Orban. He has stripped judiciary independence. He has turned media into state propaganda outfits. And he has openly celebrated a liberal democracy. He's also banned LGBTQIA plus people from Pride. He's banned Pride in his country because he doesn't think that trans people or gay people or bisexuals, lesbians, asexual people even should be allowed to express themselves freely in the streets. They should, shut up and go away. As Gavin Williamson once told the murderers of Moscow, the butchers of Moscow. Hey, remember when the murderers of Moscow shot down that Malaysian plane, MH17? Do you remember that? Do you remember when they killed everyone on board with a Russian-made rocket? Yeah, anything happened about that? No, all right. Do you remember when the Russian agents came over here and killed a British woman, Dawn Sturgis? Do you remember that? Do you remember that nothing happened? Yeah. Do you wonder why nothing happened? Do you ever wonder why nothing was done about it? They removed some diplomats. Some Russian diplomats got reposted somewhere else. Oh, God, we're never going to do that again. Like I say, I mean, one murder, is that a crime? Is that a crime? It's just one crime, isn't it? Anyway, so yeah, Poland, the PiS party, PAS party, the Law and Justice Party. They've hijacked courts when they were in power. They attacked LGBTQ rights. They have spread anti-immigrant and anti-Semitic rhetoric. Thankfully, they were kicked out of power last year, and now things are turning around there. But in Hungary, Viktor Orban's still there. Who do they support in Brazil? Well, you can probably guess it was Bolsonaro. Yeah, who downplayed COVID-19, leading to a catastrophic death toll in Brazil. He dismantled environmental protections, and deforestation of the Amazon skyrocketed, and he mounted a Trump-style coup against his own government when he lost an election. And a coup that ended spectacularly unsuccessfully, and now he is possibly in jail, I think. He should be in jail anyway. Because they do things more right in Brazil than they do in America. In America, you can mount an insurrection. You can break as many laws as you like. You can nick a load of secret documents off the US government and sell them to the US's enemies, and you'll be all right. You'll be fine. You'll be great. You'll be grand. You'll be grand. Oh, wow. You have a £50 super chat from Optimistic Nihilist. Thank you so much, Optimistic Nihilist. That's very kind of you for the mega chat. Mega chat! I need a little fanfare for that. Thank you. Farage looks set to clean up these local elections tragically, but I can't vote Labour for various reasons. Even tactically, Lib Dems aren't much better. Most main parties are chasing Farage's far-right flame into hell. Not sure what to do, to be honest. I would vote for whoever has the best chance of keeping out the refuck. Because, look, I know things aren't great, and I said this the other day, and I hated having to say it, but I would genuinely vote for the Conservative Party to keep reform out. That's how strongly I feel about this on Thursday. Because if reform take over councils, if they get a majority on councils, if they manage to take these mayoral seats, which they probably will, at least two of them, who's going to lose out first? Well, they've already said they're going to cut funds for special needs education. That is their first target. They're going to go after children with special needs. They're going to go after the disabled. They're going to go after the neediest people in society, exactly mirroring what Trump did in America where they went after the most needy around the world by cutting USAID, and then they went after the most needy in America by cutting Medicare and Medicaid. This is billionaires, foreign-backed billionaires, taking essential services away from the poorest in our society. Absolute monsters. These monsters need to be kept out. And yes, I know it's a horrible thing to say. We have to vote the lesser of two evils, but we really do. And I've had people go to me, you know, how can you say that? How can you say vote Conservative over refuck? And I'm like, if they're the party that in your, you know, if you live in a terrible, terrible place where the Tories actually look like they're going to win, that is the vote that will keep refuck out. And yeah, the Tories left to their own devices will cut funding for everybody who isn't a millionaire, who, you know, isn't an investor. He's got to come over here and dodge tax and open shops, open hundreds, thousands of Starbucks and not pay any corporation tax. Woohoo! Whoopsies! Didn't pay any corporation tax because we made a loss, actually. Yeah, because I know it looks like we made billions and billions and billions last year in the United Kingdom, say Starbucks, but the reality is that we had to pay our own company for the right to use the name Starbucks and the logo, and we estimated that cost was just a penny more. You're not going to believe this, how this all worked out. But that cost that we set ourselves in our parent company in America, that cost was 1 penny more than we made in profit in the UK. So we didn't make any profit at all. We had to pay it all for the right to use the name Starbucks. There was ever a good reason to boycott American stuff. That is it. Starbucks, biggest coffee company in the world, doesn't pay any tax in this country. Remember a few years ago, about 10 years ago, there was a big kick-off about it. And they went, okay, we'll pay 20 million. You know, they found 20 million pound down the back of the sofa. If you trade in this country, fucking pay tax in this country. And don't try and influence our electoral system. How about no representation without taxation? Hey, how does that sound? Yeah? Just switch it around. Yeah? You don't pay tax here? Well, fuck off trying to influence our politics then. Okay, bye. Loads of love coming in for Optimistic Nihilist. Thank you for generous support, says Diz. Wow, generous, thank you, says Alistair. Completely get where you're coming from, says Optimistic, says SG. Yeah, I get where, honestly, I do. I get where you're coming from entirely. Chrissy, thank you so much. Farage is just a grifter who knows how to appeal to the public. Yeah, you're right, Chrissy. But I think this is totally on Labour, the Lib Dems, the Greens, for not standing up to him. You know, why aren't they putting stuff out every day saying, hey, what happened to that pilot of that plane that crashed? Oh, he was driven to suicide. How did that happen? Can we talk about that a bit more in every interview? Can we talk about Farage's connections to Russia? Can we talk about that in every interview when he's allowed to pontificate about stuff? Ask him the hard questions. Ask him about how much money he made out of Brexit. Ask him how much money he made on the EU gravy train for him, his wife, and his mistress. Ask him about those questions, eh? See if you can laugh them all off. Morning from Cyprus, says Colin Baker. Oh, wow. Hello, Cyprus. I can't believe you're watching in Cyprus. That's very, very cool. Whereabouts in Cyprus are you, Colin? Let us know in the chat. Love a bit of Cyprus. They charge themselves for a cup. Yeah, they do, sure, because it's got the Starbucks logo on. So every time they sell a cup of coffee in the UK, they technically make a loss because although they get like, you know, £7.50 for a fucking latte or whatever they charge these days, the fact that it's got Starbucks written on the cup, they've got to pay for the licensing to their own company for the license to be able to use that. It's a good little system, isn't it? Wes Streeting has come out and said trans patients could be treated in private NHS rooms. I bet in his mind he would have us on the floor on mattresses with our med and food pushed through the door. Yeah, Sarah, I probably would. And he's absolutely fucking gobshite. I can't believe a man who is part of the LGBT community is doing this. And he's supposed to be a left-winger. And he seems to be taking some kind of sick delight in it as well, which really fucks me off. He should not be health secretary. It's like, could we say bedside manner? He's got no bedside manner at all. He comes across as kind of flippant and arrogant, and he can be good in debates, but move him somewhere else. He shouldn't be in charge of health. Not something that impacts so many people's lives in such a way. He's a horrible person, says Dish. Yep, I absolutely agree. I'm really impressed with Colin because he was obviously partying all night in Iron Napa, and now he's here this morning. Gotta go. Electricians have arrived. Ooh, that's Chrissy. Cyprus is hoping to join the Schengen area this year, as says Asperger's Europe. Ooh, that'll be good in. I'm going to say this is good in a way, but also if it does join Schengen, that's going to make the border between, I say East and West Cyprus, or Greek Cyprus. It's not really Greek. It shouldn't be Greek. It should be its own country, whatever. And Turkish Cyprus shouldn't be Turkish Cyprus. Should be its own country, but whatever. And that's going to make that border more difficult, isn't it? Because it's going to be a Schengen border, not just an EU border. Anyway, moving on. So yeah, who else? Oh yeah, Donald Trump. Sorry, I was listing the people in the IDU, or the parties and the party leaders in the IDU, and who they what they've done. So Donald Trump. Where do I start? There's so many. I'll just be here for the rest of the day listing all the horrible things that he's done. So I think we've done that to death. But let's just say causing an insurrection against the American Congress building, against the Capitol building. It just that'll do. Suppression of voters' rights. I mean, this guy attempted a coup against America and got away with it. Unbelievable. So the IDU is dangerous because it's not just centre-right, it's an authoritarian international network. They protect their own. Boris Johnson, Tories are part of the IDU. He's unlawfully suspended Parliament, remember, in 2019. He is now a proud IDU advisor. Trump cited an insurrection, and he's still idolised by the IDU's member parties. They centralise power, and the parties that are in the IDU have the same framework to work from, the same sort of manifesto to attack courts, muzzle media, and crush protest rights. It's happening all over the world, and it's always with parties that are in a democracy, that are part of the IDU, that are like, no, we need to stifle dissent. So given they could do whatever they wanted, they could just shut this channel up. Like, this channel will go, but they'll just get rid of it. They absolutely would. You know they would. They hollow out democracy from the inside. Elections still happen, but the system is rigged. Voter suppression, opposition crushed, independent institutions gutted, and you've got social media campaigns run by bots and ne'er-do-wells, and they pour loads and loads of money into spreading false propaganda that people believe because most people aren't paying that much attention to what's going on politically. You get like what we'd call a managed democracy, like in Russia or Turkey, where you're free to vote as long as you vote the right way. It's available in any color as long as it's black. So in Canada, in particular, Pierre Poilievre his party is a proud member of the IDU, and he uses IDU playbook tactics. And they've all discussed this. Let's not pretend that these people don't talk to each other, because they absolutely do. He has demonized what he calls elites and women. And wokeism, right? Which is something they always go after. It's the elites. It's the elites. It's a deep state, and it's like, you are the deep state. And it's like, no, they're the deep state somewhere. It's these trans rights activists doing all this stuff. I'm like, where are these trans rights activists? Are they in the room now? Can you see them? Are they in the room now? Are they, Sheila? Are they in the room now, Sheila? And wokeism, this idea that we shouldn't be decent to each other. So just think woke equals decent. That is the easiest way to get around it. And I know it's got more history than that. And I know it doesn't quite mean that. But when you're talking to someone who's complaining about wokeism, just say, oh, you mean you're against decency? And then get them to explain what wokeism is, or being woke is. And they'll say, oh, so it's being nice to people. Okay, so decency then. You're against decency. You don't like being decent. You want everyone to be indecent. So one time, a long time ago, I probably shouldn't demonetize the chat, but I was sitting down with a family member who was a little bit right-wing, let's say, and they were complaining about certain words you can't say anymore. You can't say these words anymore. So I, at the dinner table, just went, "C unit," to which everyone sort of looked at me and were like, "What?" I just went, well, you were complaining about words you can't say. I just said that. How could you say that at the table? I'm like, well, so there are words that you can't say. Oh, that's interesting. Well, why can't you say it? Oh, because it's rude. Oh, okay, because people don't like it when you say it. Oh, okay. But how can these people use that word themselves? For the same reason that I can make fun of my family. But you can't make fun of my family because you're not part of my family. The same way I can make fun of Scousers. You can't make fun of Scousers unless you're a Scouser because you're not a Scouser. If you do, it's a bit fucking rude. So don't do it. Simple. Back to Peter Polly Pocket. He's promising vague freedom while plotting state control, clearly. He's cozying up to big oil and mining corporations, clearly. And he's doing the old blame immigrants, blame indigenous activists, blame minorities of minorities for all social problems. It's not the billionaires who are causing all the problems in your life. It's trans people. It's not the billionaires causing all the problems in your life. No. Your dog died, your wife left you, it's all the EU's fault, clearly, because of the way they measure bananas. Yeah. Do you measure bananas? Do you measure them straight from top to bottom, or do you measure them around the curve? Do you? One of the two? I don't know, but that's the reason why, I've got some incurable disease now. Because those bloody bananas. Yeah. Jesus. The IDU does not want a free Canada, and neither does the Canadian Conservative Party, led by Pierre Poilievre. Pol Pot. Pol Pot Pocket. Pocket Pol Pot. Let's call him Pocket Pol Pot, because it's a little Pol Pot. They want a client state for US corporate interests, represented by people like Musk and Trump. And, it did look for a while like Poilievre had it in the bag, because all you had to do was show up. The Liberals in Canada, left wing in Canada, their popularity was underwater this time last year. Underwater. Justin Trudeau, people didn't like him. They were fed up of him. He'd been out too long, too long in the tooth. Get rid of him. So they got rid of him. They got Carney in. But I mean, that wouldn't have made much difference, all things being equal. But the other things aren't equal. Because of one thing. One big horrible blob called Donald Trump. One big horrible orange blob. One big horrible orange rapist, racist, authoritarian, fascist, Nazi scumbag who murders police officers and steals state secrets and gets away with it because all these Americans are in thrall with the grand Trump, the person who makes politics seem like WrestleMania. Yay! Thank you for making politics seem like WrestleMania, Mr. Trump. I can't believe that, Idiocracy was set hundreds of years in the future. They only needed to set it 20 years in the future, and it would have been accurate. Anyway, so this Canadian election has been absolutely transformed by Trump because, like I say, like this time last year, the Liberals were in the shit, and now they seem like they're going to win. So in early 2025, even the Conservatives were 20 plus points ahead. And Trump's re-election came with these new tariffs, threats of annexation, and economic sabotage. And there was a sudden surge overnight in Canadian patriotism. Hockey fans booed the US anthem. 7 million early voters, which is a record turnout. Surge in Liberal support amongst centre-left and NDP voters, voting tactically, good old tactical voting, against Poilievre. And the final polls show the Liberals are slightly ahead. There's still a danger, like I say. In the first Brexit referendum, they said that Remain was going to win. Also, in the 2016 election, they said that Trump was going to definitely lose. I mean, even on 538, which is sadly defunct now, they said Hillary Clinton had a 90% chance of winning. And there you go. The Conservatives are very close behind. And there is a potential for a Liberal majority if turnout remains high. But don't forget, their system, they don't necessarily have to win an outright majority. They can just win a lot of the seats, and they can go into coalition with somebody else on the left that will propel them to stardom. So, yeah. But there are broader consequences if Poilievre wins. Mass deregulation, carbon emissions will explode. Canada is one of the biggest exporters of carbon fuel, of fossil fuel, of dirty fuel. Workers' rights will be slashed. Canada will be locked into Trump's geopolitical orbit forever. Press freedoms will be weakened. Protests will probably be criminalised. And the path to annexation or puppet status for Canada will be open. So Canada would, under Polly Pocket, become Trump's first vassal state. If Carney wins, on the other hand, you're going to see even more of a rapid diversification of trade towards, as I said, the UK, yay, EU, yay, and Asia. They're going to change the CBAM, which is the Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanisms, to align with Europe, stabilisation of the Canadian democracy, and put massive pressure on relief on the NDP and Greens to rebuild. There'll be a lot of pressure, from the Greens and other parties that they might have to team up with in order to form a government to rebuild. And he's going to stand up to Trump's economic blackmail, whereas it looks like Poilievre is just going to capitulate and do what he's told. Poilievre is mates with the likes of Jordan Peterson, and the alt-right manosphere place who says, oh, well, actually, the thing is, he's a stupid little Kermit voice, thinking that he knows stuff about things because he studied at university. Really, did you study? Or did Daddy pay? Did Daddy pay for your qualifications? I don't know. One of the two. I always find it a bit worrying when people sort of hide behind the qualifications in lieu of actually knowing stuff about anything. And it always look a bit sus about people who use words that I don't think they know the meaning of when they talk, like Russell Brand and like this horrible little man. This horrible little Jordan Peterson, who seems to believe in dragons for some reason. And if Carney wins, hopefully he will, build up Canada better and bigger and bolder than ever before, rooted in independence and genuine democracy. And, if Canada is yet another country to fall to the far right, there'll be ripples around the world, just like there was with Trump, And I would say that the IDU, the International Democracy Union, is possibly the greatest unacknowledged threat to democracy today. And all the parties that they support around the world are worth looking at. Go and have a look on the Wikipedia page for the IDU. And sounds like a contraceptive, doesn't it? Go and have a look at it, and it'll, have a look at the parties that are on that list. They're all listed, and you're like, yeah, none of them are great. And this is a global battle for the soul of democracy, and we really don't want to see Canada go down that route. When fascism comes back, it's always carrying a fucking Bible wrapped in a flag. Flag shaggers united, and Pierre Poilievre is not Polly Pocket is not a solution to this. He is the crisis. He is the issue that Canada is going to be grappling with for years afterwards if his party get a majority. But it's looking close. Not as close. He was sitting pretty before Trump came along and started doing all this mad shit. So in a weird, fucked up way, we should be thankful for Trump, because if it wasn't for him, Canada would have gone conservative this year. But then again, all things being equal, I'd rather Canada was conservative and America was nominally liberal. I'm not going to say liberal because that their left wing isn't really left wing. The Democrats are not really a left wing, but they're more like our conservatives. But Republicans are more like our refuck party. My mum's not a TERF. She had a TERF moment figuring things out, says Sean. I understand the emotions are high, but this is a respectful and friendly chat. It is. I disagree, Luna, to call someone on basis that is fucked, says Scott. Hey, if people aren't nice, I'm going to ban you. I'll ban you off. I'll sack you off. One strike and you're out. I put it right. It was a moment rather than an attitude. I'm LGBTQ plus. I marched with T as a community. I won't have anyone discriminating against trans members. Yes. What? More like a penis instead of a wing. What does that even mean? Hoan Jungen. What? We've been thrown under the bus. I doubt things will improve in my lifetime. Streeting may hire by bull turn square and fester at the corners. Okay, Kirsty, thanks. I don't know if I read that right. And Pete saying, be honest, Graham, Scouse is a fair game. Piss off, Pete. Fine talk where I'm from. You know, that place that everyone in the world has heard of, unlike Leeds. Or Newcastle. Or Sheffield. Or Sunderland. Or actually most places in the UK that aren't London, Liverpool or Manchester. Where are you from? Birmingham. Huh? Is that near Aston Villa? I agree. Most people just need to be educated away from right-wing media. Yes, I think they do. I think we need to have a chat about it. And this is one of the reasons why I do this, and also why I promote other channels and stuff. Because they're saying similar stuff. Because we need the arguments. We need to know this stuff. We need to have it brought to our attention, or we just won't know about it. And this is what this social media platform, these social media platforms allow us to do, is to have these conversations and talk about stuff that you might not know about. But also, if you then go and talk to someone who is mad, MAGA or conservative or refuck, you'll actually have the arguments in your armory to say, well, no, actually that's not true, and have the facts at your fingertips, so to speak, at least to say, that's bollocks, and Nigel Farage is a foghorn of ignorance, a bollocked face foghorn of ignorance at that. So I'm going to head over to the papers now. Oh God, no! I just pressed the wrong button. Oh no! Don't do it! Don't do it! When you've got the close and open on an advert and you accidentally press open, yeah, don't do that. Okay, so I'll go over to the papers now. Papers. We've got the Mirror there. The Southport dads who ran for their girls in the London Marathon, along with over 92,000 people took part. That is incredible. And also there we have Mo Salah, who is taking a picture of himself in front of the crowd. That must be nice for that Liverpool fan who's had his camera taken off him to get that picture. Liverpool clinched the title for the 20th time. Only the second time they've ever won the Premiership, but the last time that Liverpool won the Premiership was during lockdown, so people in Liverpool didn't really get to celebrate. I really, really, really missed not being in Liverpool yesterday. I wish I'd been in Liverpool. It would have been fantastic. But I think they're having their big celebration on the second bank holiday Monday in May. So I'm definitely thinking of heading to Liverpool, making a beeline for Liverpool. And yes, I know what you're thinking, but Graham, you're a blue. You support Everton. And yes, I do support Everton. In fact, I've got time on that way. I've got an Everton cushion on the sofa behind me, secretly behind me. But yeah, I'm always up for a party. What can I say? If I'm somewhere, someone's having a carnival, I'm gonna jump in. I'm gonna jump in both feet. Yeah, come on, let's do this. So yeah, back to the papers, I guess. We've got Reeves faces pay demand for teachers and nurses. It's the front cover of the Times newspaper. Recommended rises pile pressure on the Chancellor. Millions of public sector workers, including teachers and nurses, should be given pay rises as much as 4%. Ministers have been told in a move that will put further pressure on Rachel Reeves. Then we've got activists protesting against the war in Gaza, tried to disrupt the London Marathon yesterday. And then we've got deadly toll from ultra-processed food. Thousands of middle-aged people in Britain die prematurely each year as a result of ultra-processed foods, a survey has suggested. Researchers analysed the diets of 8 countries: Britain, Brazil, Australia, Canada, Colombia, Mexico, Chile, and the United States, and an estimated number of deaths linked to an over-reliance on foods such as ready meals, fizzy drinks, and processed meat. This is a poverty dividend, is that you get to die earlier if you can't afford expensive food, and you can't afford the energy to heat up your expensive food. If you can't afford those things, and you're reliant on the cheapest way of getting lots of protein in your body, stuff that isn't nutritious, people are in this country are obese, but nutritionally they're starving. They're starving for nutrients, and this is a huge issue. And I do think that the government should be doing more about it. Having said that, I don't necessarily think that we should be making processed foods more expensive. I think we should be making healthy food less expensive and easier to put together, and not allowing, if you buy a, if you go to the supermarket, I think you should be given some free stuff. I think you should be given some free vegetables that are all cut up, some free fruit that's all sliced up into pieces, so you can just freaking eat it really easily. And I think that should be subsidised. I think that should be subsidised by the government every time you go to a supermarket. Maybe not maybe the supermarket should subsidise it. They make enough in profit. Maybe some of that profit that they make goes into a special tax that's just on supermarkets that gets funneled back into the government, basically paying the supermarkets, so they'll get some extra money back from the money they pay in tax, in order to allow customers to get free fruit and veg, free, healthy food when you go to the supermarket. You get a voucher, you get it, once a week. It's very easy to do, because at the moment, you get your Lidl Plus card, or your Sainsbury's Nectar card, or whatever, and you get those weekly offers. Well, just do that. Just make that system work for everyone, where you can get X many pieces of fresh fruit every week, and it's free. It's absolutely free. You know what? If you want to take the fruit and you want to sell it outside for 10p an apple, then fine. Whatever. Go with God. But the vast majority of people will not do that. And it can't be set like you have to have this or that. It needs to be the option. So it should be like any fruit up to the value of, etc. And that's what I would recommend a lot more than putting a tax on sugar. I'm a lot more carrot and stick in a lot of ways. Kate Smith, what about the judge who got arrested? Says Kate Smith. Yeah, this happened. I think 2 judges have been arrested, is my understanding of it. But I think the one you're talking about was a judge in Wisconsin who was arrested for stopping ICE from deporting somebody. And this is a real worrying development in America. And the reality is, there's not much we can do about it in the UK, except say, oh my God, that's awful, and point it out. But also, make sure that doesn't happen here. Make sure we fight strong enough, hard enough to make that not happen. But also, I do believe, and I don't think I'm not naive in saying this, I do believe that we can make Labour do better. And even if we're fucked off with them, even if we're not going to vote for them ever again for what they've done, it's still worth writing to your MP, especially if they are Labour, and saying, I think you're going down the wrong path. Because the more people write to them, the more messages they get saying, look, this is wrong. How can you possibly justify this? Pointing stuff out to them. Because here's the thing, right? MPs don't know everything. And just like me, when I am scrolling through social media, I learn stuff every day. I learn stuff I didn't know before about how, these shadowy cabals running the world and what they're up to. I learned about 55 Tufton Street through social media. I didn't learn it through the media. They hardly ever mention it. There was a big Channel 4 news report years ago on it, but I only saw that because I found it on social media. 55 Tufton Street, has there ever been a panorama about 55 Tufton Street? Has there? I don't know, but they seem to allow people who work for these mysteriously funded think tanks of 55 Tufton Street to be on the TV every other day. Don't really understand why that happens, but it does. Billy Kershaw says, check out the Bin Podcast Network. Yes, our friends Mikey and Tim and Ollie and Wayne. We call Wayne the Tory. He's not really a Tory, but it's fun. It's fun. Violent criminals tried without juries under swift justice plan. It's fun cover of the Times there. Defendants accused of violent crimes and drug dealing will be amongst those to lose their automatic right to a jury trial under plans backed by ministers to clear court backlog. I don't know how I feel about this. I really don't know how I feel. Maybe people in the chat could opine on this. I don't know if you can in 200 characters or however many you're allowed in the chat there, but I do find it really disturbing, the idea that you can opt for a jury trial but not get one. But also at the same time, I understand that the courts are absolutely backlogged up the kazooie because of the Tories defunding everything. They defunded legal aid. They defunded citizen advice bureaus. They defunded everything. And they made this huge backlog of judicial cases. If you watch or follow The Secret Barrister, they talk about this a lot. Optimistic Nihilist, thank you very much for the £10 super chat, my friend. That is very kind of you. The lesser evil argument has run out of credibility to me. If pretty much all of the main parties are becoming regressive corporate shills who ignore our cries of despair, then why vote for any of them? Because they are the lesser of two evils. And the disparity between, not the disparity, but the difference, the genuine difference between what Kamala Harris would have done if she had won become president, and what Trump has done. There is no way on earth that Kamala Harris would have brought in these tariffs. She wouldn't be getting ICE to go round up 4-year-old children with cancer. She wouldn't get away with it because the people who voted for her wouldn't accept it. The thing is with Trump is the people who vote for him accept it. They're all like, yeah, this is great. Trash our own economy. Suck up to Russia. Yay. Become fucking Vladimir Putin's special little butt boy. Yeah, we love this. We love this becoming the 47th oblast of the Soviet Union or Russia or whatever it's calling itself these days. Moscow. And I think that's the big difference. Labour and the Greens and the Lib Dems have fucked up time and time again, and they will fuck up again in the future. And it's up to us as people who may have voted for these parties in the past to keep them on the straight and narrow. Completely shutting them off and saying, right, I'm never going to talk to you or about you ever again. It's not an option in our stupid system. We don't have proportional representation. We've got bloody first past the post. And while we do have first past the post, it is incredibly difficult to keep the fascists out because they have got all the money. They've got all the power. They've got all the propaganda. And Labour aren't delivering as much as I would like, but they delivered at least 1% of what I want, whereas the Tories delivered 100% of what I didn't want. They were the ones who brought in an essential banning of onshore wind farms. One person objected, that farm didn't get built. That turbine didn't get put up because one person objected. They gave us austerity. They gave us Brexit. They presided over the VIP lane and the parties of COVID. And then they gave us the mini budget. You think Rachel Reeves would get away with that? And that, I think, is the biggest difference between the parties, is that although you'd look at them and go, oh, you're all the same, the reason why they're not is because Labour don't get away with this shit. They'll be out on their ear in the next election if they don't book up their fucking... They'll be out on their ear if they don't book up their ideas. And you know it. And I know it. Whereas the Tories are pulling all this shit, and they were in power, their fan base would be like, oh yeah, this is great. More of this, please. I think that is the big difference. That the left are always held accountable, whereas the right, they don't have any accountability whatsoever. So if we can take a step away from policies for a moment and just look at it in terms of accountability, look at Donald Trump, not for too long because he's butt fucking ugly, but just look at what he's got away with. He's got away with literal murder. Literal murder. He's got away with it. He's got away with stealing state secrets. He's got away with mounting the coup against America. He's got away with sending his people in to smear shit on the walls of the Capitol building. Do you think that Biden would have got away with that? Do you think that Clinton would have got away with that? Do you think that Obama would have got away with that? No. No, because their own voters would hold them accountable. And I think that is the really big difference here. So please, I completely appreciate that Labour need to be told to fuck off in this election. I get why people feel that way. And if it's not consequential, if there's no way that refuck can take control of your council, then fine, vote with your heart. But otherwise, please, on Thursday, if you are going to vote with your head. Don't necessarily vote Labour. Vote the party that is likely to win. To beat the party that is most likely to beat the refuck candidate. So go to stopreformuk.vote and have a look for your constituency. See if you've got an election on and see who the best people to vote for are. But yeah, I think that's really, really important that we just see that difference. We just take the people that make up the left, take the policies just to one side. The left just don't allow their own to get away with shit. And, to our own detriment a lot of the times. Because it means that we just never get anything done. We're just like fucking herding cats. But, please vote. Please vote on Thursday if you can, just to keep the refuck out. Because the refuck are going to destroy everything in this country. They've already gone a long way to do that. They've already taken us out of the EU. Same people. Same Cambridge Analytica. Same Forest. Same Nigel Farage, same Heritage Foundation, the Institute of Economic Affairs, Civitas, the LGB Alliance, all in fucking 55 Tufton Street, making our lives a misery for no reason other than their own sadistic little games. Don't forget, these motherfuckers are incredibly rich. They were spat out of their mum's fudge into a big pile of money, and they love it. They love it. I absolutely love it. Joanna's saying, sorry, Graham, can't vote, nothing to vote on. No, don't vote for something. Vote against something. It just depends on where you are and what's happening. If the refuck candidate doesn't look like they're going to win, or candidates don't look like they're going to win, don't worry about it. But I really think it's really important that we look at the damage that these motherfuckers can do. Have a look at what Trump's doing in America right now. Have a look at what the Tories did in 14 years of absolute chaos, where they made the billionaires even fucking richer. Because those billionaires needed a few extra billion, because they were only a billionaire. There needs to be a multi-billionaire in order to, I don't know, have a bigger yacht or whatever, or buy the cocaine or ket or whatever they're addicted to. That coke ain't going to buy itself, is it? But no, the only recommendation I can give is for this one, and I get what you're saying, Joanne, because you're right. You are absolutely, Joanna. Sorry, you are absolutely right when you say there's nothing to vote for, but there is certainly something to vote against, as far as I'm concerned. And if you think that things are bad under Labour doing stupid shit, you wait and see what happens with the bloody refuck lot, especially if they merge with the Tories, which is looking increasingly likely. I seem to remember having an argument the other week about the fact that would never happen. I was saying it would. Yuri, thank you very much. Yay! Back in the hell that is the UK. Eek. At least Graham's here to get me through the world burning as I try to escape this transphobic house. Probably shouldn't keep giving money away given my situation, but you deserve it. Thank you so much, Yuri. Ori, that is so kind of you. There are options. What I would do, right, if I could, and I can't because I'm kind of trapped here for the foreseeable because of family reasons, but if I could, I would move to Ireland for two reasons. Ireland's fucking lovely, and also because if you live there for a few years, you can apply for Irish citizenship, and then you'll have an EU passport, and then you'll be able to live anywhere in the EU. Don't live in Hungary, run by gobshites, but there are a lot of countries in Europe that are a lot more progressive than the UK is right now. Vote like your life depends on it, says Sean. I agree. And yeah, I do get Joanna's point. There's no one to vote for. I completely understand that feeling. However, there are people to vote against. And that's what tactical voting is. That's the horrible system that we have inherited. I wish it wasn't so, but it is. And also, we haven't just inherited a really ridiculous electoral system. We've also inherited the fact that 5 billionaires run all our media. All our media, like literally 99% of the media that you consume, Murdoch, Rothermere, Musk, Zuckerberg, and the Barclay brother. Those 5 motherfuckers. 90%, probably more, of the things that you read are filtered through those motherfuckers. And we're up against that. We're always up against that. And we are, me and Tan and Aid and Phil, I mean, we're never going to have the kind of platform that the Mail Online has, owned by Viscount Rothermere, the bloody, from the inbred Nazi family that have run the Daily Mail for over 120 years, the newspaper that just loves to just stick it to minorities. You pick up a copy of the Mail from 120 years ago, it's blaming immigrants for everything. Funny that. Let's go over to the Mail. In fact, here you go. Here's the disgusting Mail. Far from Andrew being freed from Virginia's shadow, her death now binds them more tightly than ever, which is a bit of an odd headline for the Mail because, they're a little bit fond of the royals. They have to have them on the front page every day. Oh, there you go. Meghan, there's a picture of Meghan. Because we need to have pictures from this family. There's pictures there from 2 people from the same family. Obsessed with this one family that live down the road. Absolutely nuts. So much for the bonfire of the Quangos. Figures show at least 350 bosses earn more than PM. Well, that's because the PM gets paid fuck all. 1,500 in public bodies take home over £100,000. Yes. And what? What do you want? They've obviously worked their way up. They have pay structures in these things. Why is it that if you have a job where you're doing just as much work in the public sector, you earn 1/10 of what you could earn in the private sector? And that's great. It's this idea that, if you run a charity, you shouldn't be paid. And I'm like, well, how do you live? Do you live in a cave and eat lentils? You're not going to get too many people that you grow yourself. You're not going to get too many people on side. You need an organisation. And I've got a lot of criticism for charities, and I'd like them done in a different way, and I'd like the money spent in a different way. I'm very much an advocate of just giving people money in places where they need money. That's it. There you go. Have some money. Go with God. Spend it in your own local community rather than building things that these people might not necessarily need or want in their community. And having that sort of great white saviour complex that a lot of people who work in charity have. However, I don't think it's a bad thing that people who work for charities get paid. Because if they manage a charity well and it earns millions and millions and millions for orphans in Sudan, then, and even if only a tiny fraction of that money actually gets to the bloody orphans, which often happens, but at least that money's getting there. And it'll be more money than I can raise for starving orphans in Sudan because I don't have the platform. I don't have the organisation. I don't have the, I can't benefit from the Glastonbury Festival, for instance. Right, back to the papers. Labour under pressure to cut back bloated state. So this is the Rothermere take here. Obviously, Lord Rothermere doesn't want people going from private enterprise into the public sector. They want them to stay in private enterprise because obviously that makes more money than for him and his associates who like to bet money on the markets. That's all they do all day. They're fucking gamblers, just coke addict gamblers. That's what these rich fucks are. And they want to spend money, and they can't trade on an NGO, can they? They can't buy stocks and shares in an NGO. Usually not floated on the FTSE 500. So what's the point of that, eh? Let's get rid of it. Let's have fully privatized companies doing everything. And don't forget, Quango is a quasi-governmental organisation. And a lot of them were invented by the Tories. So they took, say, the Higher Educational Statistics Authority, and now they've merged it with another company that it does the same thing, but they have to do it for profit. Well, not for profit. It's a not for profit, but they've got to make money. They've got to make money because someone's got to make money out of statistics. It's just, the whole thing is a little bit odd, but, capitalism has made it that way. Okay, so Heather Graham, there's definitely some creepy people out there, she says. She's spent the last 30 odd years in the Black Lodge, so I'm guessing that's very much the case. Crap's last tape, Triumph for Gary Oldman. He's a good guy. It's funny because he used to be a young man, but now he's an old man. He's a Gary Oldman. He's old man Gary Oldman. Oldman, that's what they call him. Revealed landlords and hotels are cashing in on homelessness crisis. Investigation finds local councils paying huge bill for temporary housing. Again, this is the ridiculous thing about homelessness. The cheapest and most effective way to deal with homelessness is to give homeless people homes. That is it. You build homes and you put the homeless people in the homes, and then they have a home, and then they cost you less money. The moral thing to do. It's the economically sound thing to do. Put those together. Good. Do that. Do that thing that shelter tell you to do. Give people homes. Don't put them in hotels because that will cost more. That's clearly going to cost more. Think about how much money you spend on your rent or on your mortgage. Right? Is it £100 a day? Is it £100 a day? No? Okay. Right. It's cheaper to put people in a house then, isn't it? Obviously. Clearly. Evidently. I mean, just what? Anyway, back to the papers. 11 die in Canada attack on eve of vote. This is a horrific story. And also something where exactly the same thing happened in Germany with someone driving into a crowd and killing people on the eve of the German election as well. This was at the Lapu Lapu festival, and it was held by the Filipino community. And 11 people have been murdered by some gobshite in a car. The 30-year-old man's been arrested, but he's been named as well, but obviously not on the front cover of the newspaper because they didn't get to it fast enough. 2020 vision, Labour's title sealed with a selfie. Star Mo Salah scored as Liverpool became Premier League champions with a 5-1 win over Spurs. I've got to say, not as a Liverpool fan, I'm not that into football anyway. That's pretty emphatic, isn't it? It's the game that you needed to win in order to win the season, with 4 games in hand or something. But the 5-1, yeah, emphatic. So richly deserved. Liverpool, I'll take my hat off to you, but I like my hat. It's undeniable Labour are now the greatest club, says the Daily Tory graph. Newspaper of the year, it says. Self-appointed, probably. Southport Fathers Marathon tribute there for the dad of one of the victims of the horrific Southport attack last summer. PM plans migrant cut to fight reform. Labour to challenge Farage on immigration as it faces getting its head kicked in at polls. Not a nice way to put it. By the way, Labour could bring down the immigration figures tomorrow by loads. Take students out. Take students out of the immigration figures because they're not immigrants. They're people staying here for a bit. You may as well have tourists in the immigration figures. If they want to stay after their degree, cool. Let them. Make it easy for them because they're now qualified. They've got a degree and they'll be useful in our workforce. That's great. Okay. They apply for it. And then they're a migrant. Then you can say, yep, this person migrated here. But the idea that people who are staying on visas are migrants is nonsense. If you're staying on a temporary visa and it runs out when your course finishes or whatever, you're not a migrant. So change the statistics. It's exactly what the Tories did, in a way, when they decided that fraud wasn't a crime, to bring down the crime numbers. They went, oh, look, the crime numbers have gone down. So yeah, because you deleted the bit saying fraud. Oh yeah, fraud's not really a crime though, is it? Russia keeping Crimea is a done deal, says Lavrov. This disgusting Sergei Lavrov, who's the foreign minister for Russia. He's a disgusting fat slug. I hate him. Autism tests given to all children who think they're transgender. This is, again, absolute nonsense over autism. We've seen this so many times where autism and being trans is conflated, like it's one of the same, and it's not. It's a lot of people who are trans are also autistic, but that doesn't mean anything. It's like, a lot of people from Liverpool are gingers. Not that many, but some of them are. Okay. But if you're going to try and make a link and spend money trying to find a link between Scousers and being ginger, I just don't think that's a good spend of money, really, to be honest with you. Oh, no, you think you're trans, but you're actually autistic. I don't really think that's a good way to go down. It sounds a lot like conversion therapy for me. Oh, you're not really gay, you're just confused. Does it sound a bit like that? It sounds a bit like that to me. Really, really distasteful. Really distasteful, especially coming on the heels of what that disgusting, glass-gargling, drunken, drug-addled scumbag Robert F. Kennedy said, John Jr., said last week about autistic people not being able to go to the toilet or have a job or pay taxes. Now, the first thing he said, they'll never pay taxes. Autistic people won't be able to pay taxes. All these autistic people in America are like, people who've been working all their lives and like, oh, what? I don't have to pay taxes. Fucking brilliant. Great. Put it on the IRS form. Sorry, I don't have to pay this. I'm autistic. Because RFK Jr. is so fucking brain-addled because the worm in his brain. He honestly believes, he's sitting there thinking that people who are autistic is exactly the same as people with Down syndrome. And even his attitude towards people with Down syndrome, that's what he thinks. It's bullshit. A lot of people with Down syndrome lead independent lives. It's a spectrum. Some people, yeah, they do need help the rest of their lives, but others, no, they live what I guess a right winger would call a productive life, but they live a life that of independence. This attitude is it's eugenics. Let's say what it is. It's eugenics. They don't want people who are autistic. They probably don't want people who are ADHD, like myself. They probably don't want people who are trans. It was one of the first groups that the Nazis went after were trans people. They shut down in 1933. They'd barely taken over. One of the first things they shut down was the sex clinic in Berlin that was looking into, pioneering research into gender-affirming care. And the Nazis immediately shut it down because they don't want any variance. They want everyone to be carbon copies of themselves. And this is the point on the political spectrum where it's not. It's a political rainbow in that if you see it from the sky, it's actually a circle. They meet at the other end. You've got these people who we think of as fascists who want everyone to be the same. And you've got these people who we think of as being communists who want everyone to be the same. Oh yeah. And this is what the real fight is, right? Break it down to this. We are fighting for liberalism, as in being able to do what we want. Freedom, that's us. We're the freedom people. We want the actual freedom, hello? Over conformity. The people who want to put everyone in a nice little box and say, you're in the box. You're a Liverpool person. You're a ginger. You're a black person. You're a person with Pakistani heritage. We want to put you in a little box, and that's how you're going to behave, and that's how society's going to treat you. And don't dare be different. Don't you dare have ideas above your station, you pleb. That's the way they treat us. That's the way they behave towards us. Ori, thank you very much for being a member for 10 months. 10 months. That's fantastic. I'm going to give you a thank you. You're the best. Thank you. Ori, thank you. You're the best. As an autistic trans person, they aren't linked. No. Correlation doesn't mean causation. And it's like your brain is unique to you. And the way that your brain is set up, if it's not a problem, do you know who's the problem around here? The psychopaths, the sociopaths, the narcissists. Let's sort their fucking brains out. Let's give narcissists conversion therapy so they can be a normal fucking human being who everything doesn't have to be about them. Who doesn't leave a trail of human carnage in their wake while they go through life blithely destroying others. Yeah. RFK Jr., Bizarro Kennedy needs to refund me all my overtime then. Exactly, Liz. The classic statistics mistake, correlation does not mean causation. Hey, I just said that, Joanna. Hey. Freedom with responsibility. Yeah. I'm just being nice. Just being fucking nice. But yeah, I don't like conformity. I don't like it. I think that everyone should live their lives however they want to live it, as long as it's not hurting anybody else. What the fuck has it got to do with me? You know what it's like? You know, in all these movies where you see like the parent who wants the kid to do something, the kid doesn't want to do, like they want the kid to play football, because they missed out on the big football tournament when they were in school. They don't want their kid to miss out, but the kid's shit at football. The kid doesn't even like football. The kid just wants to hang out in this library playing Dungeons and Dragons. Don't make the kid play fucking football. And the parent's so disappointed with them. Oh, I thought you were going to follow me into the family tradition of playing football or working down the mine or becoming a chartered accountant or whatever the fucking fucked up family tradition is. And you're looking at this movie, you're watching this TV show, and you're like, you know they're not a clone. You know they're an independent person. Even if they were a clone, they'll be an independent person with their own mind, slightly different from yours. They're not a mini-me. They're not there. Children are not there to replicate you in every fucking way. So if they want to have their own hobbies and their own things that they get enjoyment from, and it's not hurting anybody else, can't stress that enough. You know, not serial killing then. You're watching this stuff and you're like, oh God, what a tyrant parent. What a terrible parent, not letting their kids, you know, sing or dance or whatever thing the kid wants to do. And yet people do that in society. Not just to their own children, presumably, but to people they don't know. People they've never even met. They're like, how dare you? How very dare you be different? It makes me so angry that people are choosing to do something different with their lives. You know, if I had a penny for every time someone said, when are you going to get a proper job, I'd have at least 57 pence. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry. I don't. It's just how I'm a nonconformist. I don't see why we should all be the same. And I would encourage nonconformity. Go with God. We're only here. We're only here for a short time. You know? We should be here for a good time. We should find the things that we find enjoyable, the things that we take delight in. And we shouldn't demonize people who not demonize, probably the bad way. We shouldn't like make people feel bad about the stuff that makes them feel good, as long as it's not hurting anybody else. So I'm not going to make a transphobe. I'm not going to make a fucking TERF feel good about their political beliefs because I think they're damaging. I'm not going to make a Tory feel good about their political belief because I think they're damaging, or a Brexiter or anyone. You know, that damages people. When someone's got a hobby, someone likes something, you know, and they enjoy it, there's no reason to diss it. There's no reason every time like someone says, oh, I like this particular thing, for you to fold your arms and go, well, I think it's shit. I mean, you might think that, but don't say it. Come on, keep it to yourself. Let's be nice. You know, each to their own, and it might not be your cup of tea, but it might be mine. That's actually coffee. But yeah, moving on. I was watching a Gen X video where it listed our number one characteristic was IDGF, how you live your life, number one value. Yeah. But then again, I mean, Generation X are getting a bit more boomery in their old age, I find, whereas the millennials are becoming more left-wing, at least in this country anyway. Maybe not in others. But yeah, and what my worry is at the moment. Oh, by the way, sorry, I better do this now in case someone shouts at me. Not all boomers. Not all boomers. But yeah, the younger generation coming up, the Generation Xers, Generation Zers, they a lot of them are very, very progressive, more progressive than we were as Gen X or millennials. However, there is the worry about the pipeline, and we talked about this on the channel before, obviously, in adolescence, but even before then, we talked about Andrew Tate and his disgusting rhetoric and how he gets people to follow him down his alt-right pipeline to a disgusting place where they treat women as objects, and the reason why they can't get a girlfriend isn't because they don't put themselves out there or talk to anyone or even try or don't join a dating app or something. They believe this misogynistic nonsense about women are only after one thing. They're after money. They're after money. Yeah. Okay, so I've got fuck all money. I know I've got a private island, but you know, that just costs me money. I've got a partner. I've honestly never had a problem. I've never had loads of money. I've just had the gift of the gab, and I put myself out there, you know? I don't think money's important. I've never been to the gym. Maybe I should do like an like Andrew Tate thing where I just sit there at my dad bod going, well, Do you want me to list all the people I've slept with? No, that'd probably be a bit disingenuous. Disingenuous? A bit disrespectful, actually. But yeah, just this idea that all women are evil and you have to subdue them because they're out to get... They've got too much power and it's all gone to their heads. This is what they say on these alt-right manosphere bullshit. You know, these podcasts. Oh, these women have got ideas above their station. And it's these frustrated virgins who are sitting there going, yeah, the reason why I can't go with a woman is because of this. And I'm like, no, it's probably because you don't actually talk to anyone. You don't like try and better yourself in a way of being a nicer person. Because I can only talk about my experience. I don't think anyone cares about your fucking beefcake body. In fact, I think for a lot of women, that's actually a turn off. I'm not saying a dad body is a turn on, but I'm saying like, maybe if you're going to work on yourself, work on your principles, work on your love and your capacity to love and your compassion, your compassion, and your willingness to let other people live their lives. I think that's more attractive than taking loads of fucking steroids and looking like a ridiculous bodybuilder from the 1980s. Just took my BP again, so Sarah, and it's 176/114 now. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's good or bad, Sarah. So you'll have to explain. But I hopefully that's good. If that's bad, shit. Maybe don't watch this video because it might be pissing you off and sort of causing you to be anxious. I hope it's not. You as well, you really need to see a GP about readings that high. They're very dangerous. Oh, shit. Okay. So I don't know. Sorry. I do have my own blood pressure testing kit here at home. It was sent to me after I got diagnosed with ADHD. But I haven't started titration yet, so I haven't actually started taking the medicine to see what it does to me. I probably won't start for a very long time. This is me unmedicated. So just take a mental note. Graham unmedicated. See if I change. See if it changes later in the year. I'll let you know on my ADHD journey. Even when on bisoprol, my BP hovers over 143 stroke 196 with a heart rate down of 62. Off them, it goes to 200 over 120 with a heart rate close to 110. Bloody hell, Joanna. That's okay. I don't know what the number. I don't know what gauge is, but that's if your heart rate's at 62 and it goes up to 110. That's crazy. That is crazy. Wow. Sarah, that's still high, girl. You need to get that checked ASAP, please. Okay, so Sarah, it's high. And Sarah's saying, Graham, nothing you do causes me to feel this way. Oh, thank you. I hope that I don't. Like, I say thank you. I'm just like, oh, good. Breath of relief for me. But yeah, if your blood pressure's that high, you should get an appointment with your GP. Because obviously that's not great. Okay, so just back to the papers to wrap up. We've now gone half an hour over time. Don't charge your phone in a Chinese electric car. UK defence firms warn staff. Britain's biggest defence companies advise staff not to connect their mobile phones to Chinese-built EVs amid fears that sensitive national security data could be stolen by Beijing. Yeah, I completely get this. Can I just talk about my experience, right? Oh, I've just got the all boomers animation going. Not all boomers. Not all... Sorry, turn that off again. Yeah, so I love Cat's electric car. I think it's fucking amazing, and I can never see us going back to an internal combustion engine, a filthy, dirty, disgusting, noisy piece of shit, right? And this is someone who grew up working in the garage, right? So yeah, while you were off playing or watching the football on a Saturday, I was dismantling carburetors at my dad's fucking shop at the age of like 11 onwards because, you know, child slavery laws don't kick in if it's family. Hi, Mum. Anyway, no, it was fun. It was fun. I can't diss it. But yeah, one of the things that drives me absolutely mad about the EV is not the fact that it only costs £3 to fill it up to go to Liverpool. That's good. Thanks for that, Octopus Energy. It's not that. It is the fact that you plug your phone into the front USB-C ports and it connects it to the car. And yeah, it wants to know everything about your phone, and it wants to talk to you like you're talking to your phone. And it slows your phone down to an absolute crawl, and it's a bloody nightmare. There are two at the back for the kids to use, and I plug into the one at the back because that's just a charger. It doesn't actually connect to the car and only stuff in the car. Yeah, I completely get why the MOD is saying don't. Oh, not the MOD, sorry, it's defence firms saying don't plug your phone into your car, because I just would not recommend it at all. I think the interface that they have on in these cars is just rancid. It is just so bad. Now, what I would like to see in an electric car, right, is buttons, because then you're driving, you're looking at the road, and suddenly it starts steaming up, right? The window starts steaming up, and you're like, shit, I can't stop. Right, what am I supposed to do? I'm on the slip road. Do you know what I mean? If I stop here, I'll cause a collision, right? So what you want is a button that is defog windows, right? So you press the button for defog windows, and it defogs the window, okay? That's what you want. But on an electric car, or at least our electric car, and also on internal combustion engine cars these days as well, you've got to go to a menu on the screen in the middle. So if someone's sitting next to you, fine, ask them to turn it on for you. But if you're trying to drive and you've got to go to settings, you've got to go to climate settings, you've got to go to the extra thing, then you've got to press defog windows. It's like 4 times you've got to press things, and they move around on the screen while you're trying to drive. And it's so dangerous. Like, there should be a law against it. What I would recommend is something along the lines of my little Stream Deck here, which allows me, if I press super chat there, it comes up with the super chat animation. But these buttons can do whatever I want them to do. So if I go that way, you see that the buttons actually change what's on them. You can see there, and I'll go back to there, and there's the thing. So if I want to put join, I press the join button, and it comes up. Right, so that's what I want in my car. I want some buttons, and I can program them myself for what I want, for my priorities. So, if the radio station starts playing adverts, right, or someone I don't like comes on the radio, I can change the radio station really easily with a press of the button. On the current EV we've got, you go to radio, and it gives you a list of 275 radio stations. I shit you not. And it's like a scroll down list. And to get to the bottom of it, you probably have to press the button at least 100 times to change station. Now you can set to favorites, right? So I've got, in my favorites, I've got the BBC radio stations, and I've got LBC News, I've got LBC, right? So I'm listening to LBC, and some god-awful advert comes on, or some god-awful presenter comes on. I'm like, I don't want to listen to this anymore. And I look at the screen, which was on favorites, so it should just have, the things of the radio stations that are listed, right? No. You didn't touch it in the last minute, so it's gone back to the default screen with the list of 275 stations on it. So then you've got to look over and press. It's so dangerous. So the government, if they're going to do something about electric cars or cars in general, because I know that internal combustion engine cars have this system as well, they need to look at the user interface. And if you ever go online and look at people complaining about their cars these days, it's almost always about the user interface. It's fucking awful, and there are ways around it. You can have buttons along the bottom, and you can select what you want those buttons to do. And if you want one to be defog windows, you always know that's defog windows. You don't have to go through a bunch of things while you're trying to drive to get there. The second one along, defog windows. The third one along, change the radio station. You get to set what's on each button. There you go. There's a little idea for you, car makers. Can you do that for me, please? Can you do that? Because I swear there are buttons on everyone's cars that they never use. That they've never, ever used. They never will use. They never will even think about using. Because, why would you? So I want a little array. You can still have the screen for the map and everything, but I just want a little array just for fast buttons. Maybe 10 of them or something. And I can program them. Or I could have a little arrow at one end, and I can make them go to different things. Anyway, that's my idea. Sorry, I went off on me going off on a tangent? It's not like me. Anyway, so moving on. Anger at the creeping betrayal of Brexit freedoms. What? Brexit freedoms! There are no Brexit freedoms! There's only a Brexit cage that we have put ourselves in. We've stuffed ourselves into a little Brexit cage. That's what we've done. Oh my God, I want the fucking Express to fuck off so much. Fuck off, Express. As Rachel Reeves reveals plans for youth mobility scheme with EU. Anger over the creeping betrayal of Brexit freedoms. The freedom to what? Not go and study in Europe? Is that the freedom? The freedom to be imprisoned with a bunch of Gabony knobheads. Freedom. I mean, is that black is white? Is that 2 and 2 equals 5? Is that just the most Kafkaesque 1984 bullshit you have ever seen in your life? That is just off the charts, isn't it? Anger at the creeping betrayal of Brexit freedoms, and it's like, what's the freedom we're going to lose? The freedom not to have a youth mobility scheme. The freedom not to study in Europe. How is that freedom? How is having less freedom? I don't know. The Star has a fun cover about the weather, as always, so we'll miss that one out. We've got the Metro here. TV's Alex Crawford tells us of genocidal horror unfolding in Iraq, which is a horrible story. Iraq is still fucked from the fact it got invaded for no reason, except we wanted to get rid of the leader. I'm sure he would have died at some point, you know. I'm a big fan of mortality for that reason. 18,000 a year die early, scientists claim. Deadly toll from ultra-processed foods. 18,000 people dying every year. That's disgraceful, isn't it? Wow. Every year, 18,000 people. That's a lot. That is a lot. That is, statistically, that's more people in the UK die from ultra-processed foods than are shot dead in America, either by homicide, suicide, or accidents. Statistically, because they're 5 times our population thereabouts, and they're about 50,000 gun murders a year, or gun deaths a year. And so if you're scaling that up, 18,000 times 5 is nearly 100,000. So it's nearly double what America has in terms of its violence pandemic over there. Okay, finally, before I go, red letter day, Liverpool FC triumphant. It's nice to see so many people happy. I know there's going to be people who are just angry about this because they wanted their team to win or whatever, but I like seeing people happy. I like seeing people I like seeing people having a good time, for, you know, having fun, having a laugh. I don't like people seeing. I don't like Nazis having a good time, because you know they're going to be having a good time being horrible to people. So let's say, as long as they're not Nazis, as long as they're not psychopaths, as long as they're not sociopaths or narcissists, I like seeing people have a good time. Look at his happy face. Look at his happy little face. Look how happy he is. US ports and air freight groups report sharp drop in cargo as tariff fears bite. LA expects 30% fall in arrivals. Chinese bookings cancelled, and importers are using stockpiles. Traders are kicking decisions down the road as they await a deal, piss off advert, between Washington and Beijing. I mean, that is just an own goal to end all own goals. 30% down in LA. And that's going to happen all along the East Coast of the West Coast, of America, and eventually get to the East Coast as well. You're going to see shop. I think they're going to see supermarket shelves that are empty, thanks to Trump's tariffs. People are going to be surprised at how much stuff they actually get from China. Conditions ripe for biggest shakeup in a century as Reform and Tories face off. Britain could be facing its biggest political shakeup in 100 years. One of the country's top electoral experts said yesterday as Conservative arguments raged over whether to form an electoral pact with Nigel Farage's Refuck UK. We need to bring down Refuck. That's what we need to do. That is our mission. We brought down the Tory party. They're not in power anymore, and I know Labour aren't exactly fucking delivering on the goods. We need to keep on at Labour, get them to deliver. Actually, fucking deliver. It's a word they absolutely love. They love to use that word, but I'd actually like to see them fucking do it. Do you know what I mean? Just do it. Do it. Do it. Just, I want to see you deliver. 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 I need to put some shading on that. So it's got like a little shadow. Because it's not great against a white background. I think that we do need to be not just keeping on Labour's case, but we need to be actively campaigning against refuck, because they're going to wreck this country. That's their plan. Farage has already gone a long way towards that, and he will continue on. I have no doubt at all that he will continue on unabated. Oh, hang on. Oh, I made that come up on the screen. I didn't mean to do that. Sorry. Get rid of that. Go away. It's not even going away. Go away. Oh, there you go. Went away. I shouted at it and it went away. Gulf Marine, do not come to the USA. I'll keep you updated until further notice. It still sucks. Yeah, I think that's what we were told. USA is due one massive shock. No stock in and no new deliveries. The people will rise, I believe, says Jane. Ooh, well, might see it. Might see we didn't see it here, though. You know, we had Brexit shelves that were empty. We have Brexit fruit and veg that goes off within the day of bloody purchase. Sarah says, yes, Cumbria had a March for Independence in my town on Saturday. Over 5,000 people took part. That's cool. And I had this vision of tankers going around in circles in the Atlantic Ocean as Trump tariff went up and down. Lol, says Sean. Well, no, they really just gone to the destination, but just stayed at anchor. Stayed off, you know. Stayed out of port. But yeah, a lot of importers in America are just holding off to find out what happens. Not making any new. They're not putting in any new orders, and supply chains in America are going to be really, really hit by this. Wait and see. I mean, they might have enough stockpiles. They might get through it, but yeah, I mean, the amount of cargo, the amount of shipping that goes between China and the US is astronomical. Just think, right? Think of it this way. A single ship, a post-Panamax ship, can take 20,000 TEU, which stands for 20-foot equivalent unit, right? So a 20-foot container, standard container. You get the 40-foot ones, which are the big long ones. Standard container is a 20-foot container, right? And these ships can take 20,000 of them. You know, when you see them all like stacked up, they also go down under the deck, you know. Like they fill up these things like you would not believe. And knowing where they all go and everything and keeping track of everything, the supercargo's duty, that's a mission in itself. But just have a think how far 20,000 lorries would stretch along a motorway. Just have a think about that for a moment and then map it out. Because here's the mad thing, right? So one container ship can have enough containers carried that could be the equivalent of a line of lorries reaching from Liverpool most of the way to Hull. And like just taking up the whole of one lane on the M62 from Liverpool to Hull. That is just mind-boggling, the amount that you can fit on one ship. And they're sitting out at anchor, waiting to come in. Man, and there's going to be perishables on there as well. I know not as many as you know, the plastic shit that they're probably bringing over, the toys and Switch 2s and things. But not that Switch 2 plastic shit. Sorry, take that back. Hashtag not all Nintendo products are shit. But yeah, they're sitting out there, and you have refrigerated units, reefers they call them, and they use electricity. And obviously that electricity needs to be generated on the ship. How is that electricity generated? Through burning oil. What oil do they burn on cargo ships, Graham? Bunker oil. The shittest, dirtiest oil you can get. That's what they burn on ships. Bunker oil. That's what they use. And to get from the US over to China, or China over to the US, you're going to get through about an Olympic-sized swimming pool worth of this oil, this filthy bunker oil. Fun. I think you're sitting out at anchor. I suppose you're not using the engine, so that's good, but you're still using the generators. You're still burning fossil fuels. So yeah, not great for the environment, not great for the economy, because they're having to pay the people who work on the ships. They're not being able to deliver elsewhere, so there's a knock-on effect there. So, yep. Gulf Marine says there's a giant car importing wharf right down the street from my house that's imported thousands of cars each week. That cluster flop is going to really hurt my town. Yep. Yes, he is. And I hope whoever's monitoring the chat realizes the previous comment was sarcasm. Sorry, I wasn't looking. Might have been Diz. Diz has got the spanner. Diz, what are you doing with the spanner? My bananas go from green to off, but never yellow, like rubber. I think they're held in a freezer for 2 weeks. Yeah, baby. Nasty shock in stock. I like what you've done there, SG. For road hauliers in the USA come a couple of weeks. This is baked in, even if Trump reverses the tariffs today. Bet there'll be a few MAGA hats sold amongst those truckers. Well, no, I mean, they love him. Honestly, all the MAGAs I've ever met have been like the nanny from The Omen. You know, the one who jumps and she says, "Look at me, Damien. It's all for you, Damien." And then jumps. Yeah. Anyway, have you seen Sinners yet? Have you seen Sinners? If you're going to visit the cinema this week, if you're going to see one film at the cinema, please go and see Sinners. It is just, it's just fun. It's just so good. It's so good. It's like, you watch it and you're like, oh, they don't make them like they used to. Oh, they just did. I've heard the term Deb Ports to describe my West Coast. Yeah. MAGA hats are $50, lol, says Sean. Yeah, and made in China. Graham, I was saying there's no elections where I live. Oh, okay, cool. That's fine then. But yeah, if there are elections this week where you are, please vote for the person who is most likely to beat Refuck. So if you go to stop, hang on, I'm gonna have to put HTTP in front of this, aren't I? HTTPS. I'm gonna have to put in stop reform UK. I always want to write refuck. So there you go. If you go to that link there, hopefully this works. Yes, it does. And it'll take you to this page here, a tool for smart voters. And you can put in your postcode here. This is not my postcode. I'm just making this one up, okay? Just making this postcode up. Pressing go. Does it work? Does it work? Hello? What? Postcode not recognized. Oh, that's because I just made it up. Postcode not recognized. Oh my god. Can I just do M19? No. Someone give me a real postcode from an old house where they don't live anymore. 2WP. 9W. 1WP. Yes. No. Come on. Why is that not a real thing? There are no upcoming elections in your area. Oh, well, that was a damp squib, wasn't it? Maybe we should pick another one then. What's B? Is B Birmingham? Trying to think. Let's do W, and that's London, isn't it? They're not doing a Merrill. What's a Lincolnshire thing? Boston. What's Boston's thing? Is it BO? BO1. There you go. I'm just making that up. It probably isn't. Oh, okay, it's not. Okay. Joanna's got one. DN. Please don't actually put your real postcode in here. 1NL. No, it's D. Oh my god. What is wrong with me this morning? Go. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Your tactical vote is Labour. Jason Stockwood. So there you go. That's in the Greater Lincolnshire Combined County Authority. So it doesn't work if you just make up a random postcode, unfortunately. But it does work if you do that. So head over to that link there that I just put in the chat. Stopreform.uk. Or refuck as I like to call it. Okay, I think they should get stoprefuck.vote as well. So it's easier to write. Gulf says cruise ships are the foulest, most polluting, spewing pigs to ever sail. That's very true. If only. If only there was some magic way. If only there was some secret magic way of making like ships, like, I don't know, move across the ocean using, like, harnessing the power of the wind somehow. I don't know what the right word is to use here. It's like, I'm feeling like, when you're on a boat, I guess it would be called sailing. I guess that's what you would call it. Like a big white sheet, like a big white canvas sheet. Just put it up and it catches the wind and the wind propels you through. If only that was possible. There you go. 2 red messages, Joanna. What? So everyone's giving me postcodes now to put in. Thanks very much. And Jane Lockwood says, at last. Right, I've gone way over time. I've gone like 52 minutes over time. I keep saying this. I did worry when I went to an hour that I wouldn't have enough to talk about, but here we are. 52 minutes later. Graham, I've got it. Sales, says Sarah. Yeah, imagine that. Whoa. I mean, we obviously have to put a lot of research and tech into these sale things in which you speak, but it could change things. Could change things. Awesome. Anyway, doldrums though, Graham says Jane Lockwood. Ugh, what do you do about the doldrums? You have a backup solar sail. Take that, doldrums. From someone who has genuinely been stuck in the doldrums on a sailboat, didn't have a motor for several days. Yeah, I know what it's like to be stuck in the doldrums. That, if you've got like a little chessboard, the little pegs, so you can peg it into the little holes, because you're moving all the time. Woo! I get seasick. And I was on a boat in the doldrums, just bobbing up and down. And when we did start moving, it was a sailboat. And you know how some sailboats, when they're sailing, they're like on an angle. So you're like 45 degrees. You're like this. And you get back on dry land and you're like this. Oh, this doesn't feel right. But now you know where I was originally from. The dreaded Grimsby, says Joanna. Well, you got out, and that's the main thing. I wish they'd changed the name of Grimsby. It's such a terrible name for a place. Grimsby, Scunthorpe, Hull, Clitheroe. Change the name, guys. Come on. They did it in Mumbai. They did it in Kolkata. They did it in Chennai. Madras used to be... Chennai used to be... You can change the name. It's fine. No one's going to shout at you. Why do you want to change the name of Hull, Graham? Because it's a shit name. Call it Kingston. It's like, you get married, you get divorced, go back to your maiden name. Hey, Alistair, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. Fund to make this a 2 hours live. Well, it's fine. We got a massive super chat, a mega chat even earlier in the show off Ori. So I wanted to make sure Ori got her money's worth. So that's all good. What's wrong with Hull? Says Lucy. It's 1 letter away from hell. That's what's wrong with Hull. As Chris Rea sang, this is the road to Hull. I think it was something like that anyway. And its real name is Kingston. It's Kingston upon Hull. Hull's the shit bit of the name. It's like, having a name like Serafina Blob and telling everyone to call you Blob. When Serafina's also a lovely name. It's just objectively a lovely name. You're not going to get a bad time with someone called Serafina, are you? No. My name's Serafina, but call me Blob. What? Why would you? Yes, but it was named after a Viking called Grim. The story is kind of cool. I know, but the word grim in English means something that's grim. You look at a train crash and you go, oh, that's pretty grim. You look at the fact that we fuck are going to do well in this election and you're like, that's pretty grim. It's just not a good name, is it? Like being called Shitsby, really. The Great Shitsby. 100 years on. 100 years on. What's right with Hull, says Sonic Shadow. You're now in Hull. I'm so sorry. No, I got to take it back. Sorry, I'm being a snob. I'm being a snob because I'm on the other side of the M62 in Liverpool. Well, not right now, but I'm from the other end of the M62 in Liverpool, the greatest city in the world. And I should know. I've been to a few. But Blob is 1 letter away from Bob. So you call yourself Bob then. There's a place near me called Skin Flats. Ugh. There's a place in over the water called Spittle. There's a place up the road from me here in Durham called Pity Me. It's literally called Pity Me. I mean, that's kind of funny, so I'll let it slide. But There's some places you think, what? There's a place there is a village called Twat in the UK with 3 T's. And the name really does suit the town's feel now. It's called Grimsby, and it really is grim there. Yes. And Oliver Brown says, oh, absolutely hate 55 Tufton Street. I'm with you. I'm with you, Ollie. I'm with you on that one. Anyway, so look, I'm going to get going now. I'll be back this evening with Stateside. Well, we will be talking to not just Mikey Famine, but hopefully we'll be able to get Ollie, our friend, not Ollie, not the one you're thinking of from Yorkshire, but Ollie from Canada on the line. And we'll be talking about the Canadian elections. So please join us for Stateside. We'll be hopping over the pond at 9 o'clock tonight. So please join us for that. And until then, I'll say thank you so much for watching. And thanks for all the chats and the super chats. It's been a laugh. It's always a laugh. I love this channel. I love the fact that we have these conversations and talk about bollocks. And people say, no, Graham, you're talking shit. And I go, yes, you probably are. And that's why I've made this animation that says, I was wrong and I accept responsibility. Look at that. What other channel gives you that? Yeah? Hey, whenever you ever heard James O'Brien say, I was wrong and I accept responsibility? Never happens. Just saying. So thank you very much for watching. Thanks for the chat. Thanks so much for the super chats, especially Orvi for that mega chat. That was really, really kind of you. And like I say, I'll be back tonight at the hour of 9 o'clock. Before I go, one last favour. One little, just tiny thing. Gives a like. Go on. You know you want to. Doesn't cost anything. Helps the channel out. And also consider joining. The channel. It's a couple of quid a month. Subscription. Gives you a rose after your name, and we put your name at the end of the channel, and you'll get access to the Discord server. So, yeah, do it. That's what I'm saying. Okay, until next time, I'll say thank you so much for watching. Hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.